Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. Welcome to the Gamey Daddy channel. So, we got some news. Just made my video a few days ago saying that there was no clear communication. I don't know if they watched the video or if it just became coincidental, but they eventually have heard a lot of other videos and a lot of the community sentiment towards the silence, and they've given a lot more details. They provided some clarity, which is very important, especially when you're talking to a community of gamers, and even in a community where there may be mixed signals or people may express a feeling and it sometimes becomes canon, and that may not be the reality. So they said Hamish has moved to a new role. They said Yannick, and I think somebody else, another name, is going to be working on, the helm of the division as they work on this so-called new content. So we actually have that coming late 2021. They also mentioned that they were going to do reruns of the seasons until then. I guess that's all the news. So I'm going to end this video and I'm going to dip out. Hold on. Wait. Now, here are more questions that I have. And this is one thing that I basically come to the division with, is my perspective is about asking questions because I have to get to the bottom of things. Sometimes when Massive puts out news, I almost feel like they sit back and wait just to laugh at how much of a rouse they can get from specific sides of the community. Because already we're seeing on Twitter and we're seeing on all the forums, oh no, it's going to be late 2021. Who's going to be left to play the game? It's not going to be good and all this stuff. When in reality, many of us are sitting here asking the questions, but how about studios like Ubisoft Red Storm? What are they going to be doing? How about studios like Ubisoft Reflections? What are they going to be doing? How about a studio like Ubisoft Annecy? What are they going to be doing? Of all the studios that worked on the Division 2 game, they only mentioned that Ubisoft Bucharest was going to be the studio in charge of this new game mode that's going to be new to the franchise. But you remember, if you've been paying attention, that Ubisoft Annecy designed this particular raid that you're seeing as footage on my screen here, right? On your screen. So they were able to design this mission. And so somehow they're not veterans like Ubisoft Bucharest. What exactly is going on? And I think there are many more questions left, in my book anyways, than answers given. Because to me, I think with these other studios that have not been mentioned in any of the production of this so-called 2020 content, I think they're working on something else, which I think is probably more of a priority for Massive Ubisoft right now. I know players may want to be in a position where they get some content before actually moving on to maybe the next game that Massive will make, be it Star Wars Avatar or the Division 3, if there will be one. But have you looked at the video game releases for the year 2021? Have you seen how many postponements have been on that list? I looked the other day. Bruh, it is a very sad list when it comes to games that have basically been obliterated from the list. I can, from the top of my head, basically tell you that we did not get Dying Light yet, like the second Dying Light last year, which they kind of said, oh, they were going to be promising it, and then they delayed inevitably. We did not get the Hogwarts Legacy game, which that was also basically poofed, and so many other games. Why? This is not something unique to Ubisoft Massive. This is something that is at the helm of what the gaming industry right now is going through. So I think that we need to be asking more questions as to where are the other resources within the entirety of Ubisoft's conglomerate that is experienced at working in the Division franchise. Where are those resources going? Because we want to know. Because, ladies and gentlemen, trust me, if they drop that content that is supposed to be for late 2021 today, we will burn through it. It doesn't have a level cap increase, so we already have our gear. We're all fine-tuned, all decked out. We will basically demolish that kind of content or game mode, and within a week or two, we're going to be in the very same place saying, what are we going to do now that we've beaten this content? So when I see a lot of the stuff that people are saying, like, well, there's no one going to be left, or people are going to go play all these other games or whatever, it will still be the same thing anyways if they drop the content in March of this year. So I don't see, in my opinion anyways, why there's any cause for any alarm. Rather, I believe asking questions is basically going to reveal more to us. I can sit here and speculate, but like I've said, most of my speculations, some people usually push back against them, but I'm not really worried because I not only make my speculations based on just conjecture, I try to provide reasoning behind it. And even with this confirmation, I believe that they have confirmed a lot of my suspicions anyways. Remember a few months back, I did some videos talking about all of the Ubisoft studios that were within this Division ecosystem. I mentioned Ubisoft Bucharest as one of them. And some people said to me, well, that's not really a big deal or whatever. But here they are making your content for the next few months. I wonder what the other studios are working on. I'm not going to say anything because I know if I say anything, it's going to be deemed conjecture. But hey, I guess it's a valid question nonetheless. Who knows? They could be working on the Star Wars game, I guess. Or they could be working on perhaps maybe the Avatar game. That's also a possibility. But if you were to ask me, I highly doubt it. But so far, so good. If the question is who's going to be playing the Division 2, well, I guess the answer is, well, maybe not you if you're asking the question. But if you're playing the Division 2, I don't think you see too much of a lag in player count or in, the fact that there will not be players to play. More people will still continue playing this game because they do not need anyone's permission to just play a game that they want to play. That's just the truth. And the truth is, you must be asking, or if anybody's actually looking at this from a more objective perspective, you should be asking, what video game are we even going to get that's at the same or better quality than the Division 2? So far, we don't really have any right now, and the reason is because game development this year has basically hit many, many challenges. And with these challenges, I'm very certain that Massive seems, they seem to know that they're in a decent spot, or Ubisoft as a whole. Or maybe the challenges hit them so bad, and within the studio, they were deliberating things, and they wasted so much time, and now they're caught flat-footed. Who knows? But at the end of the day, I don't see any cause for alarm, not from my perspective anyways. And like I say, we all have different perspectives, so we'll see a lot of these things quite differently, and I'm sure the community basically does see it. Some members of the community have said, we're going to go to Outriders, perfect. If Outriders is really going to hold off, your appetite for the Division grind and all that stuff, then perfect, go ahead and, jam out to it. I think it'll be a very refreshing, playtime for some agents, but for some, they've already said, nah, they're not playing Outriders, not for 60 quid, even. I think many of them have actually, placed themselves in that category. For me, I'm looking forward to other games. I hope my second, anticipated game for this year isn't canceled. I'm not even going to say the name because it's just like mentioning, some weird, jinx on top of your game these days. If you talk about it being, slated for release, because another thing too that they didn't even put an announcement date to the game. They just said 2021. They also kind of somewhat confirmed 2021. So the game seems like it's likely to come out. And I'm guessing that it's most likely going to be coming out very soon, or more information about that game will be coming out very soon. But hey, you got to give props to the developers. The first thing the community asked for was, we need clear communication. They've done it. Now, I'm sure they probably didn't want to say much because the timeline was basically exactly what they've revealed. So I guess the next set of complaints that we're going to hear is about the timeline nonetheless. But for those of you who've been living in the world and not been buried under a rock, you understand that the timeline is basically influenced by so many other factors. And so I guess that's basically where we leave this video. So I'm out. Thank you very much. Talk to me in the comment section. I know there are going to be different opinions and different views, but it's okay. Peace out.